As legal experts are calling it the largest fraud case in the history of Jacksonville. Former CEO Aaron Zahn and CFO Ryan Wanamaker are charged with conspiracy and wire fraud. If convicted, they could go to federal prison.
And tonight, we are on your side with live team coverage. Our reporter Renata DiGregorio and digital producer Toby Nell Perkins are in the courtroom updating us throughout all of this. Plus, we're going to hear from our legal expert Shannon Schott in just a moment.
But first, Jeannie Blaylock is on your side outside of the federal courthouse in downtown Jacksonville. So, Jeannie, remind us, how did we get here?
Well, let's talk about this. First of all, this is not a case of alleged shenanigans in some company who knows where. This is JEA, a city-owned, city public utility. I know every month I pay my light bill, I pay my water bill to JEA. Maybe you're a JEA customer too, but now we have two former top executives from JEA charged with trying to steal millions of dollars from JEA, public money.
Shysters, not shysters, shysters.
City Councilman Matt Carlucci is still angry over what he calls an alleged plot of Zahn and Wanamaker to pocket millions of dollars. Their scheme, a blow to any of us, he says, paying JEA for water and electricity, and a gut punch to 2,000 JEA workers.
I mean, it was cruel.
The alleged scheme, sell the JEA and offer employees an incentive plan, a PUP, P-U-P it's called. But investigators say that plan could have made tens of millions for Zahn and Wanamaker and left employees out in the cold. JEA workers tell me they feel betrayed.
Oh, I was mad as hell.
But the most selfish, crooked scheme that I could ever believe would be proposed in under the nose of Jacksonville.
So that was Councilman Matt Carlucci, and you can tell that's not what we're going to hear from the defense. So let's take it over. On the other side of the courtroom right now is our Renata DiGregorio. She has been in federal court all day long, and because it is federal court, no television cameras, but she is prepared to tell us about opening statements. Renata?
Good evening, Jeannie. I just walked out of the courthouse about 15 minutes ago. They are still going, but what we know right now, federal prosecutors this morning have been painting a picture of two top JEA executives who they say have been deceiving and lying to everyone. But the defense attorneys say they did no such thing and that the two brought in experts to look at what they were doing, something they would not have done if they were fraudsters. Aaron Zahn, the former JEA CEO, and former CFO Ryan Wanamaker are accused of conspiring to steal millions through an incentive program they were creating while pushing for the sale of JEA. Prosecutors say they tried to scare the public into supporting the sale by feeding JEA board members lies about JEA being in a death spiral that would result in higher rates and layoffs for close to 600 people. Today, Zahn's defense attorney argued the JEA board wanted a young, visionary leader, and that's what they got with Zahn, who was working to move the company forward. Zahn's defense attorney said if Zahn was committing a crime, he wouldn't have hired top lawyers and consultants and put it all on video at public meetings that were broadcast online. Wanamaker's defense attorney spent much of his time going over the credentials of the JEA board members, attorneys, and consultants all involved in the proposed sale of JEA. He said they are smart people looking at the proposed plan, and Wanamaker would not try to fool them. The JEA CEO before Zahn, Paul McElroy, is the first witness on the stand, and he was CEO when the idea of privatizing JEA began sparking across the community. He was still in there testifying when I left the courtroom just about 15 minutes ago. Defense attorneys moved partway into the opening statements for a mistrial. They weren't happy that prosecutors told the jurors that it was unusual to have two juries in the same courtroom. The judge denied that motion. Live at the federal courthouse, Renata DiGregorio, First Coast News, on your side.
Thank you so much, Renata. I know you will be back every day at this trial inside the federal courthouse. Let me introduce now Shannon Schott, an attorney here in Jacksonville. She's our legal expert. And first of all, thank you for being here. And let's talk about the success of prosecutors in these federal trials. There's an interesting statistic.
Absolutely. We know from 2022 data that actually 99.6% of prosecutions in federal court prevail for the government. So this defense has a really uphill battle ahead of them based on just those statistics alone.
That is an overwhelming statistic, almost 100%. So what can the defense do, do you think? What do you think they will do to try to punch through all this with the prosecution?
Based on what we know about their arguments so far, we know that they are simply arguing that these defendants were just doing their job and that doing their job was not a crime. And based on all of the ways that this plan had to be approved, all of the people who approved it, there was no way that this could have been fraud. So essentially a reasonable doubt argument at this time.
So some people are saying, how long do you think this trial will last? These typical federal trials go for how long? I've heard a month, I've heard 2 weeks. Of course, nobody has a crystal ball.
Yeah, we don't know how many witnesses the government intends to call here, but they've already called a witness or two today. So they're certainly moving. Judge Davis has this court moving right along, even managing 2 juries. It sounds like they're going to move along. This could be over within a week.
All right, thank you very much. And we know you'll be back with us tomorrow. We appreciate all your legal expertise.
Thank you so much.
So talking about looking ahead, tonight at 6 o'clock, what was this alleged scheme? We heard about this pup. What did that mean? How did it work? How did it supposedly fool people for quite a while in Jacksonville? I'll take a look at that tonight at 6. Jeannie Blaylock live at the federal courthouse. First Coast News on your side.
Jeannie, thank you. And we, of course, will be on your side covering this trial gavel to gavel. You can find the latest updates in the First Coast News app. Just look for the section called jea-corruption-trial.